welcome.
And with the jingle. And we've read a continuation of the interesting story of Balam and Balak, with Numbers 23:13, right?
Yeah.
So we've actually skipped a little bit. I think Monday
we skipped a bit yesterday because yesterday was the visitation.
Okay.
Mary going to see Elizabeth. So today, yes.
It's really interesting, this conversation with Balak about it, because it struck me that God is taking quite a lot of energy and time to try and explain to King Balak, that he shouldn't be cursing these people, as opposed to just saying blow you and death.
Well, I suppose it's Balak is being really persistent, and he's saying to Balaam, I want you to curse these people.
Right.
And Balaam says, I can't say what God's not telling me to say. And God is telling me to bless them, not to curse them.
Yeah, which is great. I love this idea. This idea is that your enemies, actually, you need to kind of think well of them and bless them, as opposed to curse them. It's sort of intriguing. And the enemy, these people are the Israelites, presumably.
Yes, it's the Israelites. It's the people who fled from Egypt as slaves.
Right. I've got my right glasses.
Balak, Vera is asking who Balak is and who Balam is. You're right, Vera. They do just seem to emerge, and we don't know anything about them. Not certainly from biblical traditions. There may be other non-biblical traditions. They do just seem to appear. Balak, though, is the ruler of, I don't know, one of the Amorites, the Moabites, one of the ites.
Is it the officials of Moab? Is it the
Moab, the Moabites. Yeah. The Moabites.
And he's like the son of Zippor, and they're in the field of Zophim. They just like all these names. It does get confusing. Balaam and Balak. I'm never quite certain which. But it's interesting because God also says in his commentary to Balaam, he says, "Look, a people rising up like a lioness and rising itself like a lion." Because obviously he has plans for Israel, right? They're obviously getting stronger and bigger. And I'm so intrigued that because they're going to go from mountain place to mountain place. I love Balak.
He's trying to find a place. Maybe God will curse them from here or there.
Exactly. It's such an interesting idea. I was thinking, why is geography part of this?
I suppose it's to do with the gods of the land. There was this real idea that gods were linked to a particular land.
Right.
So maybe, Balaam's god was not so powerful on that mountain.
Right. That's an interesting point.
It's quite a key point for today because, we sort of think there are certain areas where God doesn't really have much influence in this particular area.
Right, and actually
God doesn't bless or curse from this mountain, but
it's the same everywhere. It's really interesting actually. That's actually a really good answer because he's still thinking of these ideas of these funny little gods in different places. That's intriguing.
Yeah,
great.
And then Luke 8, sort of a collection of 3 different stories.
Oh, are these? Yeah, because I was amazed because it sort of got the light, and then we did the my mother and brothers,
which we actually had yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
Yesterday, right. But we did it in Mark, I think, from Mark or Luke. Mark.
And then we got the boat. I can't remember these 3 stories being so close together.
Well, in other Gospels they're not, but in Luke they are. Right. So in Luke chapter 8, he sort of puts together a whole load of different things.
Striking story, great comments.
Okay.
I do love there's so much here, isn't there? The light under the, hiding your light under the bed, but once you light the lamp that you want there for everyone to shine. And exactly. Vera, we read it the other day.
What's interesting, he says, is there's nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, nor is anything secret that will not become known and come to light, and it's sort of saying about shine. But then he says, so pay attention to how you listen. Because what's first important is what comes in, because that will then be what comes out.
Right, that is interesting. Yeah. Because did we read about lies the other day, about coming to light? I can't remember what that was. But it's this whole idea, is it?
And I suppose, this is just me making it up as I'm going along, but that's a common theme almost throughout these 3 stories. There's that, pay attention to how you listen. Jesus saying, "My mother and my brothers are those who hear the word of God and do it."
Yes.
And then the last commandment, who is this that he commands even the winds and the water and they obey him? Almost the winds and water
Listen. Yeah, that's very interesting. Exactly, there's the listen, there's the hear, and then there's the obey, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And I love the fact they're all panicky in the boating story, and they sort of shriek and scream, "Master, we're perishing!" And he just kind of wakes up, and he's kind of totally cool and calm. I just love this idea, because that's often the way when things are bad. Often they seem worse because of our reactions to them, because we sort of panic and scream and run around in little circles. Sometimes the first thing to do is take a deep breath.
I know. This is the picture of coolness.
Exactly. Yeah, he just wakes up and he goes. I just love this vision and this image of him just waking up in the boat and he goes, "Guys, where's your faith?" Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Lovely. Have a wonderful day, and communion this evening. If you're around, it'd be lovely to see you here. That's 7:30. Bless you.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.